This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Liston Witherill. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
I'm doing very well, and it's actually pouring rain over here in the middle of the day, so I guess we have slightly different weather where we are.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's just night here. It's just after 7 p.m. What part of the world are you in right now?
Portland, Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest.
What time is it there now?
It is 3:18 Pacific Standard Time.
Ooh, how I wish I was in your time right now. Ooh. Well, that's awesome. Well, tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting? What have you been doing?
I like the way you phrase that question. So I'm a consultant, and I help other consultants and service firms better sell themselves and have better conversations with their clients and, connect with more people. So I believe what happened is someone who's been following me for a few years saw one of your LinkedIn posts asking if there was anybody that you should talk to. And he tagged me on the post, and so I replied.
Do you remember who it was? No?
I believe it was Tristan Bailey.
Right. So Tristan was on the podcast, and then decided after having a conversation, yes, you are that person who needs to have this conversation, which is super cool, right? So let's see if Tristan was correct. I'm joking. I'm really joking.
Well, I was going to say, you're going to have to be the judge of that at the end of it, right?
Well, I guess the amazing audience, the listeners, let them be the judge of it.
Sure.
I'm in it for the conversation. So who did you learn that ability from to help others be able to build, just their brand awareness, if you would?
That's a really good question. Also, I wouldn't attribute it to one person. I would attribute it to a lot of trial and error. I'd also attribute it to professional focus and having to build my own brand and a lot of reading. So I think, just a combination of doing and reading. And what I'm especially interested in is how people make decisions, like how do they behave and what makes them think and do certain things, and how that applies to business. So like everything I've done in my life professionally is really trying to seek out answers to why we are the way we are.
Yeah, definitely a puzzle, isn't it?
In a lot of ways it is. Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun because you can take two positions, I'm guessing. You can take the position, it's a puzzle, I'm not going to attempt to do anything. Or you can take the position of it's a puzzle, I can solve it. Or
the in-between part, which I think is the most true, which is just because we can't know everything is not the same as we can't know something, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things that we do understand, and there's a lot of ways to reduce our risk and uncertainty about how people behave, and therefore, how do we market and sell ourselves and have more conversations like this, right, with cool people? Like ultimately, it is about human connection. And so even though we can't completely solve the puzzle, we can make a lot of progress and especially know more than we do today.
Love it. It's about the posture, isn't it? It is a posture to decide to be in a position. Ooh, I love that. That's pretty cool. It's like list on. List on. Love it. So tell me, why will you continue to be that guy that pushes the way you are pushing right now, the way you are reading and developing yourself to be able to develop others?
Gosh, maybe it's a combination of curiosity and also maybe a sense of obligation to other people. I just really care deeply about, I want to see other people doing as well as they can. And if there's something that I can do to contribute to that, not only is it deeply gratifying for me, but it feels like time well spent. And I'd even go a step further than that and say the meaning of life is really about having relationships and giving to others. That's where our meaning comes from. And, if I can exercise that professionally, then I'm doing something right. So that's why I'm continuing to push in this direction.
For someone that's listening, where's the best place for them to connect with you?
Best place to connect with me is I'd prefer if you emailed me. You can email me at liston@liston.io. That's liston.io. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm there too much.
I think a good place as well is you can start by listening to your podcast. It's a really nice introduction to who you are and what you do as well. Would you agree?
Well, isn't that nice of you to pick me up on failing to promote my podcast?
Oh, it's good.
Yes. So I have a podcast called Modern Sales. And if you just type in Modern Sales anywhere where you listen to podcasts, it will be the first thing that comes up.
Yeah, I listened in for a bit, and I really appreciated the way you got, well, you can understand with the 12-minute guy, he likes to see individuals get to the point quickly. But of course, your conversation is not a 12-minute conversation, but I love the introduction of the podcast where, it explains what you do, who you speak with, and how you can help others. And then you get into the conversation. I love that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
So exercise is a huge part of my life. So it's not, that's not something that I get paid for, but I've either lifted weights or gone running a minimum of 5 days a week for the last 3 years. Yeah. So I find that being self-employed, it's very stressful. And, I also believe that our bodies are meant to move, and the stress and the whole tax of life kind of adds up quickly if we don't have an outlet for it. And exercise is really that way. And it keeps us healthy. So all kinds of benefits to it. So yeah, exercise.
When we drove through Portland, well, we were in Portland, and then we were back and forth, right? But it was really cool to see how many runners there were, all through. There were many runners, road runners, barebacked runners, a lot as well. It was pretty cool to see that. It seems as an active community when it comes to the exercise part of life.
It is, and of course we have the global headquarters of Nike here, so you see a lot of people who work there are running. We also have Adidas and Under Armour. So and Columbia also.
Sweet.
Big culture of outdoor sports and running here.
Oh, I didn't get to visit a Nike outlet, but next time. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Well, next time you're here, the factory outlet is like 2 blocks from my house. So come by and I'll buy you a coffee or a beer or whatever you drink.
No, buy me a sneaker. Come on, beer. Come on.
No, you got to buy your own sneakers, my friend.
You see that, amazing audience? That is called truth. I love that. All right, Liston, let's switch gears for a moment. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Liston, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Wow, that is a difficult question to answer on the spot. I don't think I know the answer to that. There's a few things that come to mind. One of them is not pleasant. I guess I'll just go ahead and talk about that. So my parents divorced when I was about 2, and I believe that my earliest childhood memory is when they had the fight that precipitated their divorce. So obviously lots of other things happened before that, but they kind of had this fallout fight where my dad gave my mom a gift, and it wasn't what he wanted her to choose. He gave her options of what she could choose for a gift, and it wasn't the option that he wanted. So a couple life lessons in there, right? Money and gifts don't fix everything. Also, if you want someone to choose something, don't give them a choice because you could be sorely disappointed. But also, I think in retrospect, it was a lesson in that they both made a decision that ultimately was better for me in the long run. That's not an easy lesson to learn as a kid. In fact, it's taken me many years to learn that one. So
that's intriguing. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind with that memory?
I'm ready.
I love the concept of something that I saw in your bio, in your notes, your show notes. It expressed serve and don't sell. And I think a person who is selling can tend to do that, where in their mind they've pointed out what is the thing they want the customer to purchase. And I think the perspective of serving really is a truth. It's really offering those two options the way your father did, and actually taking the answer that the person gives and then move forward. And to see that from that tender age, you got the opportunity to see a real life version of what could happen. I'm really impressed that you've taken the decision to help others understand the value in serving as opposed to selling. Not that selling isn't bad, right? But understand that there is a difference. And I think it's better when you serve first and then provide the thing that the person desires. Yeah? So
agreed.
Yeah, pretty intriguing. Wow. If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
I love this question. And I had to go back and look it up. At the time, it was definitely Jump by Criss Cross, produced, of course, by Jermaine Dupri, some of his earliest work. Had I not been so self-conscious, I probably would have worn all my clothes backwards to be more like them. That's what it was. Jump by Criss Cross, 1992.
Love it. All right. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Liston?
I think so.
Liston, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to? Hit me, yes or no. All right. Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
No.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Definitely,
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Sometimes.
How about 3 hours a week?
Yes, I do.
What about screen time? The phone and the computer, is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
More.
Listen, if you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Liston Witherill, what would you say that is?
Wow, how is that a lightning round question? I would say seeking the truth and living in reality is the best way to live your true life.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely think that from our conversation, truth is a big thing in your world. I love how you told me, hey, you buy your own sneakers. I told you I could get coffee or a beer, right? Listen, this has been such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
The last thing I'd like to share is, if you're listening to this and you got something out of it, do your dear host a favor and tell someone else. I record a lot of podcasts and create a lot of content. And I know for me, it's really meaningful if I'm able not to build an audience or be popular or any of that stuff, but to just help additional people. So if you enjoyed this episode, tell someone who would appreciate it.
Love it. Liston, again, great pleasure, my friend. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.